The animated sitcom Bob's Burgers tells the story of parents Bob and Linda and their three kids, Tina, Jean, and Louise, who find themselves in the center of zany adventures in between sometimes running a hamburger shop. The Bob's Burgers movie is more of the same, but this time in the form of a musical. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater. Check. All right. This is Ronald, and I'm leaving the theater after seeing Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers, directed by Loren, Bouchard, and Bernard Derriman. Written by Loren, Bouchard, and Nora Smith, starring H. John Benjamin, Dan Mintz, Eugene Mirman, Larry Murphy, John Roberts, Kristen Schaal, Zach Galifinakis, Kevin Kline, Davin Wain, Sam Seder, Aziz Ansari, David Herman, Gary Cole, Brian Huskey, Jenny Slate, Ron Lynch, and Stephanie Beatriz. All right, Bob's Burgers. This is the show that is on Fox, a part of Fox's animation domination. You know, that shows The Simpsons, used to be American Dad, Family Guy, all of those shows that came on Sunday nights. All of those shows that came on Sunday nights. This is a movie, and this movie was originally slated for release July 17th, 2020. And I think that's, I'm not certain if it was done already by then, but they held on to it. It did not come out on streaming or anything. They waited to release it to theaters. The first time I saw the preview for this movie, I remember my original thought was, why now? And I guess it being 2 years later, it makes a lot of sense. People were really excited to see it. For me, if you are a huge fan of Bob's Burgers, I don't know that there's going to be, you're going to like it, obviously. And I can tell you right now, you're going to like it. The one thing that threw me off getting into it, it's everything that you expect walking into it from Bob's Burgers, meaning that you get the quips, you get them going back and forth, you get the weirdness, all of the things about Bob's Burgers that people seem to like. But it's also a musical, and that kind of threw me off. If anything, I was sitting in my seat, and I texted Nicole Hill, who you guys heard on the last episode of the podcast, Top Gun Maverick, and I remember as soon as the first song broke out, thinking, oh, this is not for me. I'm not a person, I don't really like musicals, and I don't like surprise musicals. There's a saying in the Young family household, when a musical comes on, typically, if we don't know that it's happening, immediately, me, my mom, and my sister will all at varying times be like, oh my God, it's a musical. And which means we kind of have to reframe our mind into what we're watching. And the problem is, people are singing out all their feelings all the time, and it's just easy for me to tune out when people are singing in front of me, unless it's something like Hamilton, where I listened to so much of the soundtrack before I walked into the musical, like into the actual the live performance of it, that when I finally saw it, I felt like I was connecting with the music in a way that I hadn't before, as opposed to having to kind of suss out plot details through the stuff that people are singing to me on screen. So that being said, as soon as it started, I mentally checked out a little bit, which, I mean, and the parts that I was paying attention for, I think were very good, you know? But I found myself wondering over and over again, why did they need to make a movie? I mean, the runtime on this, I believe, is about 1 hour and 46 minutes. So it's really like just, it's the same as watching a Bob's Burgers binge, except that you have to leave your couch, go into a theater to see it because it's not available on streaming yet. Which, if that's a thing that's a problem for you, then going and if actually physically going and seeing it is a problem for you, then you're probably going to be a little irritated to have to wait for this one to come to streaming. But that being said, I don't really think that I don't think this really needed to be a movie. There's nothing about it that's necessarily bigger than any Bob's Burgers episode that I've seen outside of this one. So watching this, I didn't really feel like they moved a needle anyway if you like or don't like Bob's Burgers. So if you don't like Bob's Burgers, it's not going to make you like it anymore. If you like Bob's Burgers, you're going to enjoy the movie, but it's not really going to move the needle for you anymore. You're not going to leave being like, oh, I love Bob's Burgers now. If you love it before, you're going to love it when you leave. So, yeah, I mean, I feel a little bit kind of what's the point? If anything, the fact that it's a musical made it a worse film for me than if it had just been a straightforward, just super episode of Bob's Burgers. I don't like it when people start singing. I remember it was kind of like the first time I saw the Tom and, you know what, this is exactly it. The first time I saw the Tom and Jerry movie and they started talking, like Tom and Jerry had voices and started talking, and I got upset. I was like, no, they don't talk. These are all silence. Like every now and then they'll be like, youch, and all that, but Tom and Jerry don't talk. They put on the Tom and Jerry movie, all of a sudden they flapping their gums all the time. So that was a little weird for me. So yeah, I mean, if you are into Bob's Burgers, you're not going to be disappointed by this movie. If you are not into Bob's Burgers, it's not going to move the needle for you anymore. With that in mind, I would give it, it's a 3-star movie. It's fine. I did not like it. I enjoyed the parts that I watched. I probably won't watch it again. And I'm realizing, based on the stuff that I'm talking to Nick Hill about, that's a good judge for a 3-star movie, meaning, sure, go see it. But like, if you don't like Bob's Burgers, if you have no interest in seeing it, I would not recommend this movie to you. But if you like Bob's Burgers, go see it. You'll enjoy it. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. This show was mixed by Thomas Tyra of Bias Studios. Thank you, Thomas. To find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studios shows, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron. That's at ohitsBigRon. If you like this show, I host another show for Pineapple Street Studios called HBO Docs Club. Check that out wherever you listen. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening. Bob's Burgers, the burgers from Bob. Burgers so good they make your heart throb. Burgers so bad they make your mom sob. Uh-oh, get a burger for Bob. Get some pickle and lettuce and tomato. Look at you, son, you ugly, you a potato. Potato. You okay though? All right, let's go.